Welcome to what we call the Safety Tips for Seniors Workshop. Our fire marshal calls them older adults, but I like the word senior somehow just as much. We're here to talk about what you can do to prevent falling at home. Falls are a leading cause of injury and death among seniors throughout the country. I'm getting the signal that I got to speak up closer. Many of us have known friends, family, neighbors who have fallen, and nobody knew about it for hours or days. And the consequences can be just catastrophic. We're here to talk about what can you do to help prevent that. And we have with us, starts with Woodside Fire, the fire marshal.
Got it.
To talk about specific steps you can take to help prevent falling, followed by Hazard Hardware, also known as Hazard Hardware Handyman. And Eric is going to be talking about what are some of the things you can do to prepare your home with the hardware and other changes to make it a safer place to be. San Mateo County Adult Services is going to talk about what health services are available from the county to advise on senior fall prevention and other issues. We have Carmen Latona Davis Adams, and here to describe what library services are available. And one thing that I think would be very interesting about the library is there's a lot of services they're doing that a lot of people don't know about, specifically for seniors. And that's one of the reasons I wanted them to talk here. The last discussion is a device this small. It's an emergency alert button. That's small. You can wear around your neck, in your pocket. If you fall, punch a button, and you can alert a neighbor, family friend, or 911, and they can be told exactly where you are, GPS wise. And we think everybody should have something like this. It programs right onto your smartphone. And as I said, it's so small you can carry it everywhere, anytime. And we can talk about that. We have like 40 of them that can be distributed today. Free of charge, just take it. All I ask is we have a form to fill out, if you would, from your experience setting it up. We want to know whether this is easy to do and is actually going to be used. Because if it is, then I think we can expand it throughout the county on a free distribution basis. I said that when the mayor's sitting over there wondering how am I going to pay for all this. Yeah, Dennis.
I'll get into that when I do the presentation.
One person I do need to introduce that I didn't sit up in the front dais, but in the middle of the room with the hat on is Brian Tomkowski. He's our mayor. So if you have any complaints, he's the man to talk to. So we want to hear your questions. So the way I think we should do it tonight, very informal. Each presentation, maybe take 5 minutes for specific questions to the presenter. And then if they're not fully answered, then you can come back and circle back at the end of the presentation for the evening. We have brochures, product samples in the back. Take a look at, play with them as much as you want, take them home. Take the brochures home. I don't. With no further ado, Kim.
Okay, I'm going to stand up and give a presentation because I can't do that sitting down, but I'm just going to get my screen sharing so that everybody can see the presentation. I think that microphone works, right? Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kim Giuliacci. I'm Division Chief and Fire Marshal with Woodside Fire Protection District. And this all came about thanks to Town Council member Dick Brown, who had an idea and inspiration, but it came about through tragedy. And that's what we're always around. Unfortunately, in the fire service, we always, even though we have prevention, we're very reactive to when things happen. And that's when things get started. And that's how codes and laws get developed. And we can't seem to get ahead of it, but we're trying, which is a lot of what this workshop is going to be about. This is going to be one of many workshops that we'd like to hold throughout the year, specific for older adults, because that's the program that we're looking to do. So it'll be based around that. Through the year, please keep in touch. Come to our website. We now have a e-notification system on our website to be informed of everything going on in the district, events, workshops, presentations, newsletters, everything. So please go to our website, sign up for e-notification, because there will be other workshops that are done on home hardening, defensible space. There's too much to try and get into one presentation. So today we're focusing on more on fall prevention. I'll touch on a few other things just given because of the, it's so fresh in our minds right now going on in LA with the wildfires. But let me continue on and we'll touch on some brief subject matters. So in the workshop, the safety tips we're going to be going through for fall is going to be, there's 7 tips. And this is through a program by NFPA called Steps to Safety. That's who created this program. They actually did a fire safety and fall prevention program for older adults specific. So this is some information that's pulled off of that. So this is the statistics. Oh, you can't really see it that well, but let's see. I didn't realize you wouldn't see it that well, so I will say it. So these are the statistics from Woodside Fire, our call volume from 2024. We had the most, and we could break it up, but it's just very many to break up. We had 889 medical calls, which was 75% of the volume of our calls. Medicals can be anywhere from a sick call, not feeling well, all the way to heart pain. I mean, everything you can think of, all medical related. We had 21 structure fire responses. That's 2% of our call volume. We had 10 vegetation fires. That's 1% of our call volume. As far as vehicle accidents, injury and non-injury combined, we had 210 responses. That's 18% of our volume. And for the falls, lift assist, because they're kind of combined into both. Sometimes falls don't result in injury. Sometimes it was just, I fell out of bed and I just need help getting up, or I'm stuck in my chair, I need help getting up. We call those lift assists, which people do call for those. For those, we had 48 calls in 2024, which was 4% of our volume. Now, 48, you think that's not that many, but I don't have the exact numbers of how many resulted in injuries. That's a whole different query in our system. But none to say that many of them could have resulted in broken hips, broken legs, concussions. There's a lot that comes from any kind of fall, especially with an older adult. We take spinal injuries into consideration. So whether it was 2, 5, 15, 30, or 40, it's still too many. And we still know that that's a target hazard, especially if people are home by themselves, they don't have a spouse or a family member, a friend or a roommate, nor someone who may be around to check in with them. That's where the big concern really comes in with the falls, is who knows that something's happened to you? Does anybody, or maybe you can't get to a phone? That's a lot about what this is about. So preventing a fall. Here's some more statistics. 1 in 3 older adults will have a fall, sending 1 in 17 to the emergency room. The first fall doubles your chances of a second fall. We all know that there's different things that cause falls, whether it's a change in medication that causes dizziness, maybe too much of a dose, too low of a dose, your body is changing. Maybe you just came back from having pneumonia, having a cold, and your balance is off because you're sick. There's a lot of different reasons why falls are generated for anybody, but especially an older adult. And that's what we want to prevent. So one of the first tips we're going to go into is exercising regularly. So exercise, it's important. First, you need to talk to your doctor, know what your limits are and capabilities are. Exercise is as simple as going for a walk, breathing fresh air. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous. It can be there's yoga for older adults, which is really modified. It's not you're not on the ground. You can do yoga from a chair. So there's a lot of different types of exercises that are available up there. We have this great new technology out there, our internet, that has every single possible of information you could probably look for and can even customize things specific for you. But please do consult with your doctor first. There's some questions that I have on the slides to go, but because we have other presentations for sake of time, those questions will be there just to give you something to think about. The next thing is taking your time, especially when it's the first thing you do getting out of bed. You don't get out of bed abruptly, quickly, even in the middle of the night. If you have to use the restroom, don't get up fast. You're still kind of half asleep. Your mind is not ready to get up that quickly. And that's where a lot of falls happen, is because that abrupt getting out of bed, oh, I got to go to the bathroom, I can just get up. You need to give your time to move your body in one motion, sitting down, keeping your shoulders, your knees, your ankles all in line together before you stand up. The hanging of the legs is a big thing on your bed. It starts to get the blood flow going, especially to your brain. It starts to circulate, and that's important to help you when you're standing up and making your way to the restroom. So make sure you get up slowly, get out of your chair slowly. Taking the time to stand before you actually take that first step to walk, let your body acclimate. So everything is at a slower pace to prevent these kinds of any kind of injuries. I thought this was funny that they have in their presentation steps to safety, but they put some trips are great fun, others not so much. So I think we all love taking our trips on vacation, but not the trips down the stairs or any other kind of falls. So this is a big one: stairs, pathways, and a clear area. In our houses, electrical cords. Electrical cords running through your house, under carpets, those are all tripping hazards. If you have clothing, books, anything, especially grandkids, if grandkids are staying at your house or you're visiting grandkids, it's the toys that are on the floor all over the place, tripping hazards. It's important to also educate, your kids, of saying, hey, can you pick up before we come over? Just making sure that pathways are clear, especially if you had to hurry and evacuate the house in a hurry. Having all these trip hazards around will delay and cause injury to you as you're trying to leave. So it's important to keep those things in mind. Going up and down the stairs, at least one hand on the rail at all times, going up and going down. There is laws now for stairs in commercial areas and public areas that the first step and the bottom step are supposed to be marked, so it's visually stands out, so you know when it's going to be your first step to when it's going to be your last. We don't do the same thing in our homes. So if you do have a home with stairs, might be a good idea to do some kind of marking on it, whether it's, those almost like those sandpaper strips, anything to kind of catch your eye that you're coming up to that first step. Lighting, this is the next big important tip. This is fall message number 4, is improving the lighting in your home and outside of your home. Sometimes we don't think about the outside of our home because we're inside, but if you had to evacuate or get out of your house quickly, having your path to where you need to go outside, having it illuminated, is important. In our fire code now and within our local ordinance, it is now required in all new construction that you have to have an illuminated address, whether it cannot be solar, so it has to be hardwired, but it's illuminated dusk till dawn for our emergency response so that we can actually see the address and not delay. The same mentality should be with lighting your path. You should have that lit up to wherever you need to go. And, if you have it on solar, that's better than nothing, sometimes depending on how your sun hits, but it's good to have that photo cell that it'll come on during those dusk to dawn hours. In your house, stairwells are important, your hallways are important. Anything that you know that you travel a lot at night, even if it's the hall to your kitchen, just think about your paths around your house that you commonly would take at night. Night lights, there's so many different types that are out there that are censored or on timers, or there's so many variations. Find what works well for you. I don't have the experience of motion sensors other than in the bathroom, but I hear from a lot of other residents that they like the motion sensors because it does pick up, and that way you're not using electricity when you're not there, that it turns off. So those options. Also, it's important to keep going, getting your eyes checked to make sure that nothing has changed over time with your eyes, because that also diminishes as we get older and might change your acuity of what you can see in your home. In the bathrooms, using non-slip mats. If you don't have, even if you have a shower that doesn't feel like it's slippery, it's still important and a good idea to keep a non-slip mat in your shower, as well as all the grab bars. I'm not sure, I haven't been in this area long enough. Maybe we'll get more word on what's available, but some counties and some cities, they do have programs available like through PG&E or other companies that will come in and do grab bars and installation for free. So those are things you can look at, and if you're aware of it, maybe something you can share with your neighbors. And if there's any kind of spills, to wipe those up quick immediately. Don't let, even if it's small drops. My father-in-law has this habit of, there's paper towels in the kitchen, especially all over the floor, and those are like his quick mop up on the floor because drops are always around. So he just puts his foot on a paper towel and just starts wiping up the floor really quick, as sometimes drops just travel. We're like, how did that get wet? But water just finds its way. So it's just an idea to put out there to have for immediate use. The next tip is being aware of uneven surfaces. We get these kind of calls all the time, especially out on the street, sidewalks, curbs, but within your own house, carpets. Carpets are a big thing. We kind of forget, we like our area rugs, we want a carpet, especially if you have carpet on carpet, that becomes even more of a hazard because your feet are already moving in a specific motion on carpet, and then you get another carpet on top of that, your feet can get stuck, or your shoe. So it's a good idea to think about where you're placing your carpets. It would be better if it was not in the pathways of getting to your front door, your back door, common areas that you're going to be traveling, especially at night, that you're going to be walking in. You don't want to have to think about, because when you're half asleep or if you're having to evacuate for an emergency, you're not thinking that how much you need to pick up your feet to make allowances for whatever separation is on your floors. We do get icy sidewalks here, so be extra cautious in our winter, more early mornings. Sidewalks are pretty slippery. I've slipped multiple times on sidewalks, even in my work boots, where it's like, oh my gosh, I just almost ate it. And I have done that in a house as well. But please be very cautious when it's late at night, that icy film starts to develop as you're walking, because that's another form of, slipping. Fall message number 7, wearing sturdy shoes. Doctors recommend really a lot of different things. Definitely you want to have a good sole, one that's non-slip sole. But as far as like slip-on versus ones that tie versus, there's so many options out there. And some doctors say you want to wear a hard shoe. Some doctors say you want to wear a soft shoe. I think whatever is going to be comfortable, that you can get on quickly, that is a supportive shoe that's not going to slip off your foot, and one that is non-slip, whatever you can find that works in that way, that you can maneuver through and get through quickly, I think that's a good shoe. Unless you have any type of foot issues, then that might be where you have to customize your shoe. But otherwise, as a general rule, definitely not things that are heeled, and keeping your shoes flat is really important, especially when you're at home. And it's important in thinking for evacuation where all our stuff is. It's nice and important to either you're keeping shoes by your bedside, or if you don't wear shoes in your house, then at the front door. Whatever shoes that you can be comfortable, get in and get out quickly. Those are good shoes to keep around. This is really important, having a list of your current medications. So keeping in contact with your doctor. What should you be on? What should you be off? If you have a lot of medications, we have them in the bathroom, we have them in the kitchen. We don't use these medications, we don't have these anymore, but they're still staggered everywhere. I would recommend that all the medications you are no longer using, to put an X on the bottle so that not just for your knowledge, but it's for our knowledge. When emergency responders come and we need to know what's going on, and there's all these bottles, that's already an indication. Okay, well, we don't have to worry about those because they're off of those. And keeping them in a bag, whether it's in a cabinet somewhere tucked away in case you do have to use it again, but at least it's marked off and it's not mixed with all your current medications. Having your list of current medications and having them on your refrigerator, that's the best place to put it. We really, as responders, that's where we always look, is the refrigerator, because during a time of chaos, emergency, most people, the patient they probably aren't even conscious, or they may not be alert enough to even direct you. Family members or visitors that are there, they're like, I don't know where it is. So it becomes this big chaos of where this medication is. And it's really important for us. We need to know what we can't give you and what we can give you when we're going through emergency treatment, and what you've been doing and why maybe these medications have affected you or not, or maybe you didn't take your morning medication for your diabetes, maybe, and you didn't have, or you had too much breakfast, didn't take your meds yet. So many different things make effects with how we make determinations on how to treat you. So having it on your fridge, whoever is your caregiver, making sure they have a current list. And then, of course, all emergency contacts, family emergency contacts, that's important for us as well when we respond to your house, is knowing, especially if you're by yourself, who can we call? Because at that moment, you may not be remembering, especially how many people still memorize phone numbers, right? We're so dependent on our phones that are all in there. Oh, I don't know. I just, put the person's name in. So it's important to have those numbers drawn out of who you'd want us to contact in an emergency, or anybody if you have a friend or a visitor. It's just knowledge and information for anybody who's at the house. Reviewing your medications. Sometimes you're on medications for a long time. Sometimes you don't even know why you're on these medications. You kind of lose track because you're on many, or maybe you're only on a couple. Your body is changing. So it's important to keep up with your doctor's appointments, all the different doctors who have prescribed it. I will tell you that I have found, one would think that your general practitioner with your list of medications knows what goes with what. I have found in my experience and as an emergency responder and even as a paramedic, they don't. And you can't always trust it, because they'll say, oh, I didn't realize you were on that because your respiratory doctor gave that to you and they weren't looking at that, they were looking at this. So it's really important that when you go over the list of medications, that you meet with your specialist, and that the specialists are aware that whatever they're prescribing for a specific need, that they know all the other stuff you're on that's already been prescribed, because there's a lot of contraindications between medications. And one doctor to the next, a lot of times they don't know or realize it. My husband has leukemia, and he's been on a treatment, chemotherapy, for 3 years now. And he went to go see a doctor, a GI doctor, because he was having GI issues. A doctor prescribed him these medications, trusting that when you start with the doctor, you give him all your medications, right? So he left, went to pick up his prescription at the pharmacy, went home, and then kind of dawned on him, let me just double check that I can take this with the medication I'm on. Nope, completely. It says cannot take, not absolutely. So it's just a reminder that the doctor means well to prescribe what you need, but you always have to make sure that they're safe for you to be taking. Dick kind of touched a little bit on devices. There are a lot out there. And Dick actually did so much research to find the specific one that he wants everyone to try out, because it was cost effective, meaning it doesn't cost you like other devices where you have to sign up for it. You have to have a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. So the product, the Plegium that he has, it's very cost effective, and it's good for anyone who doesn't want to put the money into it, but at least it's something. and it's something that works. So it'll be great for people to try them out and test them out and see if it works, because there are a lot of devices out there, but they're costly. Or rely on Wi-Fi now. We don't want to be relying on any kind of signaling. We just want to have it ready to be used too. Okay, I wanted to touch on this because it's something that people never think about or consider. When we get older, I'm not going to talk for myself, but because of my mom, my grandmother, I mean, I've been around people who have lived by themselves because they were widowers. And nobody ever wants to be a bother to anybody. You don't want to inconvenience your son or your daughter. You don't want to be a burden to them, so you don't want to bother them. It is so important for you to have some kind of partner, especially if you're by yourself or you live by yourself, or let's say your spouse is traveling somewhere. Just to connect with someone, whether it's a friend, a family member. We do have volunteers through the Young Men's League who we can also partner up with, but someone to just check on you, where it's a morning, hey, good morning, yep, I'm good, had a good night. Doesn't have to be a long conversation, but it's just to know that you're okay. And then before you go to bed at night, just want to say good night, checking in, and couple minute conversation, because that links back to the problem, to what brought this all up with Dick's experience. We see it a lot. I can't tell you how many times we go to calls and because we're doing a welfare check and it's someone who's fallen and they couldn't get to a phone or any way to notify anybody. And there's ones that have been okay and ones that have not. And so to alleviate that, it's important to have a partner, someone who is checking in with you days during the day, at night. So I encourage everybody, whoever it is, to find someone to have as a partner so that you can communicate and just check in. Sometimes people think, well, I don't want to check in because, I feel, whether you feel embarrassed, I don't want to bother them. This is all about safety, and everyone appreciates being a part of someone's life to check in on them for their safety. I know even for me, when my husband's away or I go to a lot of seminars and conferences, we always check in. Hey, how's your day? Whatever. But you always do that check in just to know that we're okay. So I encourage that a lot. Knox boxes. I don't know if you all know what a Knox box. Many of you have Knox gate key switches, which if you have a gate on your property, it's a key switch that only the fire department has to enter your property. This is a Knox box. Also the same idea, except it's a box that houses the key to your house. And the value in this is when nobody else is around except for you, and there's an emergency or a call, or you can't get to the door, or you can't get to the phone, we can come. Fire department is the only one who has the access to this key. There are Knox boxes all over the world. Knox box is the company that every fire jurisdiction uses, but all of them are keyed according to that jurisdiction. So Woodside, we have our own. Redwood City has their own. Menlo Park has their own. For some where we share jurisdictions or lines, there's sometimes 2 Knox boxes so that it's keyed with each of us. So if any of us respond, we can access. But some people don't like the look of the Knox box. So when I was at Menlo Park Fire, there was a young man who is an Eagle Scout, and he had his Eagle Scout project. His project was to create, he thought, for safety, and because of his grandparents, that's what's part of the inspiration is, he took a planter box, he cut it out, and he mounted inside a Knox box so that it would look nicer. And you could have a plant inside. And that way it was at the front door. Instead of having this box sitting at your door, he did it in a discreet way. After the fire department caught wind of that, they started a program called the Planter Knox Box program, where this was given to residents for free. All you had to do was order the Knox box, and we got the planter, the soil, and everything. We did have a whole bunch the fire department did purchase a whole bunch of Knox boxes to start the program, and this young gentleman, he built them. I think there was like 22 of them. And then as those started to go, then it was, okay, the resident can purchase the Knox box, we'll get the planter box, the soil, the plant, whatever the homeowner wants, and we'll get that installed for them. But it's an important way for us to get access during an emergency. So that is an option out there. I'm happy, if people are interested, please let me know. We can figure out a way of how to get Knox boxes at your house in a way that is visibly pleasant. Okay, so before I get into the next segment, any questions on fall prevention? I just listed some things for you to think about. Name one change you can make in your home to reduce falling from everything we've spoken today. Kind of take that away when you go home. Why does regular exercise reduce falling? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why exercise, not only just movement, but keeping up strength, flexibility. There's a lot of good reasons to keep exercising. And why is it important to have your current medication list, which I really touched on a lot. So just things to think about when we come away. Any questions before I move on? Okay. Like I said, oh yes. You can call me directly. Sorry, the question was, where do you get information on the Knox box and the alert? So the alert will be with Dick Brown. If you have questions about the Knox box, you can contact me at the fire department, and I can discuss that with you further. Like I said, this big first segment of the workshop was really going to touch mostly on fall prevention, but Dick asked me to just touch on a few little things. So these are just small snippets of workshops that we need to have more in detail because there's way too much to fit into this small segment of information, but just some quick tips. So emergency preparedness. This is a community thing. It's everybody's responsibility to prepare. You have to prepare your home as a homeowner, but you also need to prepare yourself as a moment when you have to evacuate. Preparing your home is to prepare it to withstand a wildfire, and then preparing yourself is for you to evacuate and hopefully have something to come back to. And the reason I say it's a community thing is because you may have your house in perfect condition and ready to withstand, but your neighbors around you may not. One of the workshops I'm going to be doing with the Portola Valley Wildfire Preparedness Committee that they're going to allow me to use their meeting time. We're doing maybe April or May, so keep a lookout for those announcements. Is going to be a comparison on what we have going on compared to what happened at the Paradise Fire, the Palisades Fire, because I do have footage and pictures that compare homes that were completely destroyed and the home next door not even touched, with like 2 houses not untouched and then houses completely destroyed. And that was all a lot because of the construction of the house and the defensible space. So I really wanted to go into more of that at those workshops so that we could see and people can understand why this has been something that we keep stressing a lot about. So Ready, Set, Go, it's been a program that's been around for a long time. You can Google that. You'll get a ton of resources. CAL FIRE has a lot of information. FEMA has a lot of information. Our website, if you go to woodsidefire.org, that has a lot of information on everything: preparedness, vegetation management, even our local ordinances. There's a lot of information on our website. It also directs you directly to PV Ready, which is Woodside and Portola Valley's Ready website. That gives you a lot of info. They have a ton. They work so hard on that website, and providing CHIP puts a lot of time into that website and giving you a lot of information along with CERT. But anyway, so the Get Ready, it's to get ready for wildfires by hardening your homes. These are the different things that you're looking at. You're hardening your home, you're creating defensible space, and you're strategically choosing fire smart plants. A lot of the language out there says fire resistant plants. I don't go with fire resistant plants because really there's not really a fire resistant plant. It's just some burn quicker than others, but no matter what, every plant burns. The other interesting fact as part of the workshop that you'll be seeing if you come later this year is greenery, vegetation, trees, they survive the fires. The houses are all just, I mean, I'm sure all the footage that they showed on the news, you could see all the homes just flat to the ground, but trees were still around and surrounding. So the trees are not the problem. So that's part more what we'll talk about at the workshop. But these are the big tips for getting ready. When you're getting set, the set portion of the message is you're creating your evacuation plan. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How you're going to prepare? Which routes you're going to take out? A lot of the routes that are going to be available to you to get out will also be on SMC alert. Alerts will go through, so between the fire department and the Department of Emergency Management for San Mateo County, we both have the capability to put out alerts. And when roads are going to be blocked, that's going to be alert if there was a wildfire or any type of emergency incident, where we're going to tell people what roads they can take. So people are aware which way to go, which is important, why signing up for SMC Alert is important to do. We'll get to that in a second. The other thing is to prepare your family. Have your family aware of what's going on. Have the phone numbers of who you're going to be checking in with. If you have kids, if you have people in your household, for everyone to be on the same page. If you're all home, it's important that you should all get in one car to leave, not everybody in 5 cars. There's already enough cars on the road. We don't need everybody in their household to take a car. There's always concern, oh, but my car, my car. Well, I think the more concern is getting everybody out safely than having more road congestion. The car may or may not be there, but it's not as important as everyone else's lives. Plus, we are already limited with our roads here. We have a jurisdiction where we're very limited. So everybody getting into one car if you're all at home. And then having your go bag ready. Go bags are important. Some people have them, but they haven't checked them in like 3 or 4 years. Things may have changed through time. Things may have expired. So it's important to go through your go bag, which the WPV Ready website has a great list of what should be in your go bag, so you're prepared. They also give you a lot of tips on preparing from home to leaving to once you're gone. So they have a lot of information on their site as well. The go part is following your plan that you had for evacuation, being prepared to leave, leaving early. If you have animals, being prepared that you should be leaving even sooner because you have animals, especially if it's horses or large livestock that you need to get out and evacuate. You need to consider leaving early. As older adults, it takes a little bit longer to gather your stuff and leave. So again, good time to get prepared and leave earlier, sooner than later. It also alleviates the amount of traffic if people are on different waves of leaving. It kind of keeps that traffic flow going. Later this year at those workshops as well, I will have a story map. I have been working with Ladris and Flame Mapper on developing with the town of Woodside, with Kevin Bryant, your town manager. A traffic study had been worked on, and we're utilizing that to evaluate our evacuation routes, as well as our fire modeling, that we're adding a layer of that to see how fires are affecting all those different areas. So that'll be later out this year. Stay informed. I put these QR codes for your convenience. The top right one takes you directly to our website, which has everything and gives you links to all other resources. SMC Alert, that's a QR code to register. You can go on if you're not yet registered. Genesis Protect, that link, which used to be known as Zone Haven, is now Genesis Protect. That link takes you to find out what your zone is, so that you know, because when it's time to evacuate, you will be evacuated by zones depending on what zone you're in. And they also have an app, so you could see the phone. The app is fantastic. In talking with the county and the state, they said the alerts on the app and information on the app is a lot faster than SMC Alert or any other alerting system, because it's as soon as it goes into the system, you'll get that alert. So I highly recommend the app. WFPD Stay Informed. We have on our website, we have a Stay Informed page that has that information plus a lot more information in there. So that'll take you, there's lots of apps out there. There's an app called Watch Duty. That's a great app if you want to follow what the progress is of all the fires in the state, and what, how many buildings have been damaged, whatever you want to know. That company does a great job with keeping up with the statistics on that. So there's a lot of different apps and resources out there. And then the AM radio that the town of Portola Valley has, we have access to that. We utilize that to broadcast messages. We utilize that channel during the last 2 red flag warning days to inform people that it was red flag warning, and for how long and why. So we also broadcast on that channel. In a nutshell, that was just emergency preparedness. There's a lot that goes into that. But at least on fall prevention, that is your 7 major tips on how you can prevent falls. Any questions? Okay. And you can contact me anytime. I'll leave my business cards out. You can send me an email if you have any questions. If you don't want to ask them now, that way you have direct communication. Thank you, everybody. Oh, yes. The question was, if you find yourself falling, in the act of falling, what are some things you can do to help soften your fall, basically? The biggest thing is always your hands and arms, trying to break that fall if you can. Um, whatever you, sometimes I think if we have something in our hands, we're more concerned about holding on to what we have in our hands. Forget about what you have in your hands. That's just not important. But our reflexes are different. So even if you can get an elbow or forearms down and falling, certainly falling forward if you can is a lot better than falling backwards, because there's not as much control when you're going backwards as there is when you're going forwards. Not to mention the parts of our head, the impact from falling forward is a lot different because of how our heads are set up. The back is a lot softer than our front. So going backwards is a lot more a lot more difficult, more dangerous. So if you can, falling forward. Yeah. No, you don't want, yeah, but that's better than your head. So any appendage is better than your actual head, because I mean, my mom had wrist surgery because same thing. She fell, she used her hand, but actually now her wrist is better because she doesn't have carpal tunnel in that wrist anymore. So I mean, there are some pluses to that. Yes.
There are YouTube videos out there on how to get up if you have fallen. And I looked at that before. But there are really good things to learn on how to get up if you have fallen.
That is a great point. So it was brought up. It's a great addition to information. YouTube has a lot for anything. You can change, you could rebuild an engine with YouTube. But there are techniques and ways, if you did fall, to get up safely and easier for you if you do fall. Check out YouTube on ways of getting up if you fall. Thank you for that tip. Yes, sir.
Just a comment. I'm a physician, and over the last few years, I've been recommending to all of my patients over 65 years old that they consult with a physical therapist in a fall prevention program. Most of us haven't done Tai Chi our whole lives and aren't used to that, and standing on one leg and that sort of thing and balancing. That's a really important skill to keep and to develop if you haven't had it. So a good physical therapist, and there are many in the area, can help with those sorts of programs for the elderly, seniors.
Thank you. That too. That's a great tip. So it's about seeing your physical therapist. They can offer a lot of programs and tips. Important to consult with them on what is good for you. Thank you very much for that tip as well. Yes. It is definitely an instinct. It kind of depends, quite honestly, it kind of depends on what you've done in your life. If you are an athlete, as you get older, your reflexes are different. It all depends on what your walk of life is as far as your reflexes go and how you fall. And like you said, it is very quick and it is very difficult. If you can try, if it doesn't, I mean, it is what it is. But I like the tip. Maybe the falling is a way, the YouTube videos, to help you get back up if it wasn't that bad. But I will say that if you do hit your head, or if you find yourself waking up on the floor and meaning you lost consciousness, it is essential that you call 911. Because just the fact that you lost consciousness is a big thing, that there was some kind of traumatic thing that happened in your brain and you should get checked out. I've known a lot of older adults that's happened and they're like, oh no, but I felt fine when I got up. No, that's not the way to think. It's always good to go get checked out. Anything else? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
I will hand
Kim.
it off.
We'll be seeing more of Kim in a couple months because we're going to do another workshop that's specific to emergency preparedness and what to do in case of an emergency. I think we're all very. Now we have Hassett Hardware.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Hassett. I'm the owner and operator of Hassett Ace Hardware. We have 6 hardware stores in the Bay Area. I also now have a handyman service. Why am I here? Well, Kim just did an amazing job of telling you all about the what's and the whys, what to be concerned about in your house. Dick has followed up with me and said, we got to talk about how you're going to do it. So I'm going to skip a lot of the points that Kim did a great job of illuminating for me. And actually first start with why I'm here, because I'm actually not here to sell you guys anything. I just want to give you guys some ideas of where we can go. 2023 was a really tough year for my family. Mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's. At the time, they lived up on the top of Skyline. I think it would take him about 35 minutes to get up there. And the only services up there are volunteers. Great volunteers. My dad served on that team for a long time. Also, beginning of 23, I don't know if you remember, it was a really, really rough weather year. And I had to go up there on my mom's birthday. They had not had power in 4 days. The house was 32 degrees. And I had to beg and plead with PG&E to let me through to evacuate them. It was not at that moment, because I'd been thinking about it for a while, but it became really clear that the house that my dad designed, built, and had lived in for 50 years was a death trap. And there was really no way to make it safe. One, they were so far away and had no phone, no internet, no way to reach out. But it was a 1970s design with lots of really bad angles and bathtubs and just not a safe place to be as a kid. I've got multiple stitches to prove it, or scars. Yeah, we used to roller skate in the house, and then, yeah. So we moved him down here. We moved him down to the Flatlands. And before we did it, I had the opportunity to gut a house completely and make it very age and place appropriate. So my brother and I had a lot of time to figure all those things out. So what we're here to do is to offer our services. Anybody from Woodside who calls Kay, my office manager here, we will come out and help you with the how. We're going to come and basically walk the property and give you a punch list of things that you should be thinking about specific to where you're at. Some of them we can do for you. Many of them we may not be able to. And that really doesn't bother me either way. I want you all to have that list of the things you can do. Some of them are very small. Adding a grab bar in a key place in your bathroom is daunting for most people, and especially to do it correctly, where if you put pressure on it, it's not going to just tear your tile out. Others are more extensive. We talked about lighting. We have the ability to go in and retrofit houses with much brighter lighting so that you can see where you're going. That goes inside and outside of the house. She talked about extension cords, and we see that all the time. An extension cord is just when you haven't run the power to the correct place to begin with. Our people can do that kind of thing. So my family has been in business for 60 years now. I'm a Woodside Elm alumni, so you know where we're at. I have a team of 6 craftsmen who have years of experience doing this. We're licensed, bonded, and insured. And basically, we will send somebody out and walk with you and figure out exactly what you need to do and leave you with that list. At that point, it's up to you to call Kay back and say, hey, can we do these projects? But we are going to start outside, and we're going to evaluate your property for all those little things, sidewalks and pavers and all those things, sink, sag. There's all sorts of tripping hazards outside. We're going to look at it from a lighting perspective. Is there enough light for the paramedics to find your address, to get to the front door, to be able to see where the knockbox is? And we can also address a lot of the other concerns that we hear from our senior clientele already, safety and security. So are there enough motion lights to make you feel safe in your home? Do the lights come on and off automatically? I know my parents really appreciate the fact that they never have to think about whether their lights are going to be on or off, because I've put smart switches in place for them that go on at a certain time and off at the right time. We're then going to go inside the house and kind of walk through each room and look at what you might need. and just kind of assess the priorities. Some of them are huge. Like, it is a big deal to go from a bathroom with a bathtub, which can be a huge hazard, to what I did at my parents' house. They have a no step shower, so they can walk directly in. There's no way they can trip on it. It's very safe, and there's grab bars everywhere. The safer, the better. My brother, just last year completed a certificate that allows us to do age-in-place updates. So he spent, 4 days in going through all the things that we should look for in a house and how to do them. And there are some really great products that do it. So I was only able to bring a couple examples. They're back on the back table, and I'm going to hang out there after this is all done and kind of go through it. But there's some really simple things that can make life easier. One of the products back there is a doorknob. And you might think, Eric, I've got doorknobs. Why would I need a new one? The newest ones, which are actually required in commercial space now, you can turn it. You can also bump it. You can also push it to the side. So if your hands are filled with grocery bags, you can just bump it with your butt and the door is going to open. There's a lot of older homes that it's really difficult to put hand railings, especially by stairs leaving the house. Well, there's now some products out there that become real easy to install and are they've drastically improved the aesthetics. So it no longer looks like your house is a hospital. It can go along with your style. We've got some lighting options, some smart switches back there so that we can, I brought an example of the motion sensor you were talking about, some smart switches that we can set up for you. We have a client who is very concerned about security, and they can now just say, hey, Alexa, I think, turn on all the lights, and literally every light inside and outside will light up. They're worried about intruders, and great. That peace of mind is a good thing. One other thing we have back there is there's a new flooring system. And talking about floors, I can see it from here, but it's a rubberized flooring. And on top, it looks exactly like your hardwood. But underneath, it's got a layer of rubber. And if you were to fall, it's going to absorb something like 60% of your weight. And so that when you fall, it won't hurt you as badly, hopefully. So those are all options. I don't want everybody to do every one of them at once, but I do want to make sure that you guys know that there are tons of things we can do to improve the safety in the house. And it's not just hearing the fire department tell you exactly how to do it or why to do it. We'll come out and show you the how. So that is it for me. Any questions on the service? We have brochures on the table. That's the main reason it's there, is so you can see what we're about. And it has the number for Kay. She sits down in my Redwood City store every day, and we are a 5-day a week. We're a Monday through Friday, and we can come out and take care of you. Great. If there's no questions, who's up next, Dick?
Thank you, Eric. Anna's up next.
Sure. 1 second. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having me join you for your meeting. I wanted to thank Councilmember Mr. Dick
Brown.
for including San Mateo County in the presentation and sharings of information regarding fall prevention for this afternoon. I am working with the San Mateo County Aging and Adult Services Division of San Mateo County Health, and fall prevention, as many people have already shared with you, is a huge concern, and it's increasing for older adults and also people with disabilities here in the county. And on the state level, this has also been very recognized, and they have been working very hard, especially during the COVID years, on getting data and also connecting more
with all of the service providers throughout the state to find out more information on how people were doing as they were sheltering in place, and also, unfortunately, the falls that they may have been experiencing during that time. And through the data that they were able to collect, they felt it very important that they start paying attention and also allocate funding that could hopefully take care of some basic services and also basic expenses that could help people age in place. And so I think I'm here to complement some of the things that Hassett Hardware has shared with you today, which I go to that hardware store very often myself. They have wonderful things, and also the staff there is very knowledgeable. But I wanted to share what this program currently offers, because I think many people don't know about fall prevention services that you can access by contacting the county. So again, as I mentioned, the California Department of Aging allocated funds to San Mateo County, and the title of the program is the Aging in Place Home Modification Program for older adults. And also we want to make sure people know it's also for people with disabilities, because older adults and people with disabilities often have the same needs, the same concerns, and the same support that they need to be able to continue living independently in their own communities, neighborhoods, and homes. And the mission: to reduce the number of debilitating falls experienced by older adults and people with disabilities. This is just a brief slide to talk to you about the services that are available. So as Mr. Hassett had mentioned, they offer a lot of more, probably much more detailed assessment when they come to your home. We also can provide what we call in-home environmental assessments. It's primarily inside your house. And the program does focus on people who are homeowners. So I think that's something that we want to emphasize. We also work with people that are renting their apartments or property, but there's a little bit more involved because we have to make sure we get the approval of the owners if we are going to be able to access, maybe do installations or do any type of work to the structure. So that's why the program really tries to focus much more on homeowners. And again, it's much more of a basic assessment. I think some people had mentioned just even an area rug. You know, sometimes, I hate to say it, but hearing it from your spouse, hearing it from your children, sometimes they'll listen more if you're a grandchild. But you know, my mom, bless her heart, you know, is still living independently, but it took all of my energy to try to remove every area rug and everything that she had on the floor. We needed to try to do that. I think it's that double-sided tape to keep it down, but eventually last year she unfortunately did take a fall, which was the only thing that encouraged her to allow me to actually remove them from every room in her home. So again, just those basic things can really make a huge difference. And I think other speakers have also mentioned their personal experience when it comes to falls. Next, we can assist with helping for those people that need assistance with purchases of equipment and installations. Again, very simple items. You know, we can help with maybe the purchase of grab bars. You know, I know Home Depot, oh, sorry. You know, more commercial grade grab bars, because, you know, many people will go and try to do their own installations. They're not always very secure. And I see Mr. Hassett is shaking his head up and down. So we may come in and have the assessor take a look and say, you know, what type of grab bar have you purchased here, and how long has it been in your home? Because it seems to be a bit loose. That's happened many times. And sometimes they will try, you know, to hopefully secure it a little bit better for folks, but oftentimes they really need to get a much stronger grab bar that will stand the test of time a little bit better for the person living there. We also can help with, in the shower area, it's not necessarily the project of a renovation, but sometimes just a bathing chair, you know, and making sure that you get the proper bathing chair that you can place in your shower so that you can enter and exit safely with your own, you know, if you're doing things independently, or for someone that needs some help in taking a shower, for your caregiver or, again, your partner, someone that you love that's helping you with your showering and bathing needs, personal care needs, they can work and maneuver the space better with you so it's safer for everyone. Because sometimes we always forget, if you have help, we need to keep that person safe too. And finally, we do have some fall prevention education materials, and I wanted to show you, I'm actually almost finished with my presentation. We have brochures here, and I know the fall prevention presentation I'm sure that you're going to be having soon is going to be so valuable, but we have little brochures here that can just share information with you on maybe some exercises. It's more like chair exercises you could take at home. And this was actually drawn by an older adult herself. So this is kind of precious to us. So we keep kind of reprinting the same caricatures. Also, how to get up from a fall. I think someone in the audience had said, you know, how do I get up if I do fall and I'm all alone? This maybe can give you some tips, although I think I take the Woodside Fire Department's advice a little bit more strongly, but just in case, you know, it's a brochure you can take with you that hopefully is helpful. And then on the back, it does have some information on how to take your own steps to prevent a fall. So again, we have this available and it's printed in English, also in Spanish, and also in Chinese. So we want to make sure that the information we have is available to people from all members, all languages in our county. And if you're interested in having an assessment done in your home, we have these one-page flyers that are also behind Mr. Hassett there in the corner in English, Spanish, and Chinese, with links to websites and places that you can check for more information. And we really hope that it's a way that the county can help support more and more people that are in the county to be able to stay independent, to be able to feel safe in their homes, and also hopefully to stay connected with the county and the community, because we're really trying to do much more outreach for older adults, because we have a growing older adult community here. And we want to make sure that you feel that you have the support of the county as, again, you try to stay independent, healthy, and live your lives in your homes for as long as you can. So I think that's the last slide I have. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is so important. These are actual participant experiences that I wanted to share. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a few minutes to read them out for you. A participant turned 100 during the month that they contacted us. Her neighbor referred her to the program as the participant was having difficulty navigating her home and especially accessing her garage and back patio. I think that's the type of work that Mr. Hassett's group can really help you out with. In addition to standard solutions, including grab bars, a toilet safety frame, and a hallway railing, we provided customized step solutions both in her garage and back patio. The broader steps allowed her to place her walker fully on the tread before proceeding to the next step. I think that's something people don't realize. Just widening the step makes a huge difference, because I've seen so many people kind of trying to balance and their weight, and it's just a huge risk for a fall. At the very end was a quote that this 100-year-old person provided. He does very good work, and he listens about the needs of the senior person. He thinks he's very friendly. I'll just stop right there. And then next, we also have had a lot of couples that have contacted us. It's so interesting because so many people that are living together, one person unfortunately begins showing some different health issues that make it a little bit harder for them. And the spouse is there to try to help assist as much as possible. And sometimes just the combination of the two of them trying to work through things together, it can get challenging. And sometimes just bringing in someone from outside that they could feel is looking at their situation objectively, again, makes a huge difference. And some of the suggestions are more welcomed as opposed to becoming an issue and hopefully a problem for their marriage. So here, there was a husband and wife. The husband had mobility and cognitive issues, and so they were concerned about controlling wandering behaviors. So also, because of that wandering, they were concerned of falls. Because many times when they wander, it does happen in the evening, and that's part of the sundowner syndrome. They went in, put in some grab bars, a commode, and a bed rail that helped with the interior home mobility for the husband. And also they installed a sturdy gate at the top of the stairs to deter nighttime wandering. And that helped both of them sleep much more comfortably than they had for a long period of time. And I just have a couple more. These are also couples. We find that the high percentage of people connecting with us are actually couples. And I think you had heard earlier, sometimes it's very difficult. It's more difficult for people that are living alone because they don't know who to reach out to. And because of that, also become much more isolated and become much more frail, and their health decreases so much more quickly than if you have, and you're lucky enough to have your spouse or someone living with you in your home. So here we have a couple, and this is an actual quote that we got. We thank you for your time to assess our home for fall prevention. You gave us pertinent information, suggestions, and recommendations. We have applied all your recommendations and suggestions. Please convey our thanks to your team coordinating grab bars and shower chair installations. Thank you again for your help preventing us from falls. God bless you. That gets me all the time. And this was another situation a couple had faced. My husband has cancer. He is increasingly weak and has fallen in our home several times. We have a 2-story home, and our bedroom is on the 2nd floor. He is no longer able to safely get to our room, but refuses to allow us to move him to the 1st floor. And this is where an objective third party, the influence, comes into play. The assessor who came provided great suggestions, and because my husband viewed him as a quote unquote professional, he listened. And we now have him downstairs where he can safely interact and visit with family and friends. So sometimes just those small little differences and small little changes, opportunities to just have people be open-minded to allow for others to come in and take a look at the situation and provide suggestions. And again, these are suggestions. People don't have to accept or move forward, but at least they have the information so they know what options they have. And we always want to stress it is a choice, and everyone needs to make their own choice of how they want to age and also how they feel they want to be able to retain or ask for support, which is always the hardest thing to do for many of the people that we've come into contact with. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I did skip one slide, which was data, but it just talks about, we have about 83 people and couples that have come to us to date. Majority were homeowners. We did have some renters, which again, takes a little bit more effort in order to help make some changes for them in their home. And many of them, unfortunately, had experienced a fall within the last year. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Well, we have the brochures, but also I have, thank you. This is my contact information. And I'm happy to share that. I think Jennifer has a copy of the slide presentation, but this is my email address. That's usually the best way to reach me. I usually am in the office, but nowadays, in-person
Thank you, Eric.
meetings are a little bit harder. Oh, thank you. I'm happy to go around and pass it. Oh, Mr. Hassett, that's okay. I'll do it. I don't want you to have to. I apologize. And then we also have a phone number, which I think I didn't come up with this, but I thought it was very clever. It's 1-844-NO-FALLS.
That's great.
And again, thank you so much for your time. And, really the county is here to support you. So we hope that you'll consider connecting with us. and also connecting us with others that you feel this might be helpful for. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Now we'll hear from the San Mateo County and
Yeah.
Woodside Library.
So I'm gonna share my screen. It says it sent a request. I'm not sure. Try again. Okay. Oh. I am my tech support. My tech support is back there. Her name is Erica. Okay. So my name is Carmen. I'm the library manager for both Woodside and Portola Valley Libraries, and Erica is back there supporting me. She's our community program specialist for Woodside, though sometimes she goes to Portola Valley as well. And I'm here to just present the library resources for older adults. It's really for everybody, but there are some resources that specifically are meant to support our older adults. So our hours in customer care, we're open 7 days a week. Evenings, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. However, our website is always open, we like to say. So if you would like to learn how to download audiobooks, read ebooks, access free movies, and things like that, you can always stop by the library and we can show you how to do that from the comfort of your home anytime you like. You can call us though. And so there are bookmarks on the tables, but I also have more bookmarks on the back table. And we specifically changed the way our customer care works during the pandemic because previous to the pandemic, all the county libraries had different phone numbers. Now we all just have one. And so when you call that one number, it rings at all 13 branches. And so when you call, you might be thinking, oh, I really want to talk to Erica at Woodside, but it might be picked up by from someone in Foster City. Sometimes that causes confusion, sometimes frustration, but really the intent of that is to make it as easy as possible and as quick as possible for you to reach someone. So when you call the number, you don't get a phone tree. I think it only asks you one question, which is, do you want an operator in English, Spanish, or Chinese? Those are the 3 different languages that we support. And if you were to, get a caller from Foster City and you say you really want to talk to Erica at Woodside, they'll just transfer you. It's pretty straightforward than that. We also have a text line, and that again is monitored by all the libraries. You can text us any of your questions. Actually, we have one Woodside family who texts us all the time because they're ready to pick up all their books. They order a lot of books. And so we get them ready for them. So when they come to the library, they don't have to struggle to find parking. They're all just bundled and ready for them, and they'll maybe park on the curb, go in and grab all their books and then leave. So that is our curbside service. So you can always text us for curbside services. And I also shared our email address because sometimes you really you don't want to sit through the phone. Maybe you don't want to text. Maybe you have a really complicated question. And email is the best way to reach us for those really complicated questions. We have found that, at least with the residents of Portola Valley, the ones who live in the Sequoias, they really like to email us. And they always have library reference questions. They want to get all the books on a particular subject. And for the Sequoias, we do delivery service there. There isn't a place like that here, but we do at other libraries do homebound delivery. So if that's something that you're interested for either yourself or a loved one, a friend, just come and look for me and Erica at the end. And that's something that we could try to arrange homebound delivery services. So what can you do with the library? You can find a lot of very fun, interesting things. Of course, if you haven't been there yet, you may not know that we have the only native plant garden at a library. So you can go back and walk our little trail there. It is beautifully maintained by that volunteer group. We also have a little corner, which I pictured up on the top, that specifically is for older adults. And those are community resources such as the fall prevention pamphlet. We have that there, as well as information on how to get the state library's help for books that you need, maybe translated in Braille or for people who are medically hard of hearing. The state library has a resource to be able to provide that service for any book that isn't already available in Braille or an audiobook. But we have a lot of different pamphlets, resources there. I also have a curated little collection there of books that might be of interest to older adults. And then our large print titles are also there because they fit very neatly there. So what can you find at the library? These are various topics that might be of interest to any older adult, large print, books in Braille. We have books on health, special diets, exercise, finance books, books on life to help you with any life changes. And that goes from new parents to retirees. Periodicals, we have Value Line, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Chronicle, all that stuff. But we have more. We have sewing machines that you can check out, a 3D printer. We actually have two 3D printers, a big one and a little one, that you can make appointments to print something. And if you make an appointment, you will get someone like Erica to help you size it and print it, whatever it is that you're trying to print. Soon we will have a vinyl cutter that will be available for people to use. Vinyl cutters are like stickers that you can stick onto water bottles. The kids like them. But they're also just good for crafts. And a lot of our older adults who come regularly to the library like to do arts and crafts programs. We're going to get a new VR kit coming soon. A bike, a book. We have 2 bikes that you can borrow. Home energy kits, ukuleles, a seed library, park passes, lots of stuff. This is not even comprehensive. This is most of the stuff. And I know I'm kind of speeding through. It's only because I'm the last presenter. I know you guys might want to like talk to us and ask us questions. So anything that I'm speeding through that you have more questions on, just come find me and Erica at the end. Our website has a lot of different e-resources such as ancestry.com. You can get the New York Times online. Of course, you can listen to audiobooks, read ebooks online, movies. You can actually get a free subscription to Calm. If you haven't used Calm, I highly recommend it. It is what gets me to sleep at night. I like to listen to raindrops every single day. We also have Creative Bug subscriptions. So if you're very much into arts and crafts and you want to learn a new hobby like quilting, I think there's like doodling classes. There's a lot of stuff on there in Creative Bug. There's short clips and workshops that you can follow along and listen to. LinkedIn Learning, Coursera. Coursera is very popular, and sometimes people get waitlisted for that. But all that stuff is available free with your library card. We also have some resources in Chinese and Spanish as well. So what do we do at Woodside Library specifically? Well, we have 2 book clubs that are very popular. One is every first Monday, and that's a nonfiction book club, I believe. And we also have a very popular noir book club. For the Noir Book Club, we also give away the book every month. And I think we're going to eventually do that for the Monday one too. But Tai Chi in person every Monday. They meet in the garden. There's also yoga online via Zoom that either me or Erica can show you how to find information on that. We have a mindfulness class taught by one of our Woodside volunteers every 4th Saturday. That same volunteer does a creative writing workshop every Friday. Art and maker programs all the time. I didn't list any because they're just constants all the time. I have flyers in the back for a drawing series we're going to do. Homebound delivery, again, if you don't have time to ask me or Erica, you can email us, and the email address is on the bookmarks. But we also have tech tutors. Marie is one of our wonderful tech tutors. She can solve any problem. I mean, of course, Erica and I are fine, but Marie's super smart, and we always go to her.
I'm going to cut in here for a second. The Tech Tutors, by the way, has been specifically set up to help you program your phone to use your device. So if you have a problem at all getting started with it, I have a problem programming myself a lot. Just contact the library, and they'll have somebody on staff answer the phone right away and help you walk through all the steps. Not that many steps, but if you're not tech savvy, some of us aren't, it can be a big help.
Yeah, I recommend, coming in Monday through Friday to our normal business hours. You don't have to make an appointment. You just come in. Most of our tech tutor appointments are really those. They're just people coming in asking us a question. I'm only saying Monday through Friday because sometimes on the weekends we get extra help who don't always work there, and so they may not be as knowledgeable as someone like Erica on certain things. So you can come in on the weekends. It's just the majority of staff are usually there on Monday through Friday. We have a lot of programs coming up. We have a fall prevention class, March 26th, who's actually being led by a health nurse, I believe, from the Sequoia Health District. So I have the flyer back there. That was set up through, I think, a partnership with Atherton Library. They had that same program earlier in the year. Beginners Mahjong actually started yesterday, and I am told that there's still room if you would like to learn and make friends surrounding Mahjong. We have an armchair traveler slideshow that's actually happening next month, and that is more of just a time and a place for you to meet other adults, make friends, share your travel stories. We really like to promote mental wellness at the library, so any opportunity to just get together, meet other people with similar interests, that's what the library is all about. Other stuff that people really enjoy is our native plant garden, not by the library, it's led by the volunteer group at the garden. In the summer, we're going to do a field trip to Pie Ranch, and that's specifically for older adults, and we're going to do a cooking class, and that's going to be a ton of fun. More flyers are in the back for different events, as well as our calendar, and then there's like a trifold as well. And that's my presentation. I am happy to take any questions now, or I'll just hang out in the back as well with Erica.
No questions? Okay. Thank you. I think the library is one of the greatest resources that a lot of us don't think a lot about every day, but I've been serving on the library board for a number of years, and it's amazing to me how many services are there and are available and how willing they are add services as needed. They've been working with me a lot on how to create more services and communications for seniors. So thanks for being here and appreciate everything that you guys are doing. So, okay. So what I'm going to suggest now, the last part, you're not going to be here much longer. I'd like to, anybody that's interested in a device, I'd like to probably have you come up front, just have you sign a little document for me that tells me you have the device, gives you questions that we'd like you to answer about your setup experiences so that we can decide, do we want to go forward with a lot more of these devices? Or do we need to modify and try something different? So with no further ado, if no more questions, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Think it out.
The next step. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Right. Thank you.